Yella Breezy got found guilty because you told on him.
How y'all gonna say I told on Yella? Listen, I will fight, tell, kick, punch. I seen a nigga in jail getting his ass whooped. He grabbed the nigga by his nuts and started whooping his ass. And everybody laughed at him. And I thought about it at home. I said, he did whatever it took to stay alive.
This is the new street dude.
Yella Breezy, once a prominent figure in the Dallas rap scene, now faces the consequences of a past he couldn't outrun.
A manhunt is still underway after a deadly shooting along I-35 not far from the Dallas Zoo. Investigators say when the suspect walked up to the victim's car, the victim got out and tried to run away. The suspect shot him in broad daylight right there on the highway.
Once celebrated for his viral hits and high-profile lifestyle, the rapper finds himself behind bars, charged with capital murder in connection to the 2020 killing of fellow Dallas artist M03.
Yella Breezy was just picked up and charged for hiring the murder of murd3r. According to police, murd3r was tracked down and killed on a highway in Dallas. The shooter hopped out and chased down murd3r. The shooter, Keywan White, was hired by Yella Breezy to murder murd3r, and he gave him cash to get it done. Following the news of Yella Breezy's arrest, murd3r's mother made a post on Facebook saying, "Justice for my baby. Long live murd3r, and what are Yella Breezy's chances of coming home?"
Authorities claim the rivalry between Breezy and M03 escalated beyond music, culminating in a deadly plot that ended in tragedy. Nearly 4 years after the incident, investigators allege Breezy played a central role in orchestrating the murder. According to the indictment, he enlisted 22-year-old Keywan White to carry out the hit, allegedly offering payment in exchange for the act. On November 11, 2020, M03, whose real name was Melvin Noble, was driving northbound on Interstate 35E near Illinois Avenue in Dallas.
Hey man, new year, new blessings. You understand me? We made it through a hell of a year. You understand? Anybody that ain't for you, anybody that's going against you, anybody that got negative, you understand me? Ain't bringing no positive eye. You know, in the words of Gucci, put that in the dirt, nigga.
Reports say a gunman pursued M03 on foot and fired multiple shots, fatally wounding the rapper before fleeing the scene in a black Chevrolet Camaro. Surveillance and eyewitness accounts helped authorities build a case linking Breezy to the incident. Now facing a capital murder charge, Yella Breezy awaits sentencing, with the possibility of the death penalty looming.
I heard a knock at the door. I mean, it was just me and my son. I heard beating at the door. Boom, boom. I'm like, before I even walked to the door, it hit me. I knew. I was like, oh, okay, okay. They was gonna kick the in, so I was like, hold up. So right when I opened the door, it's AR-15, big flag lights, and me and my son face.
The courtroom may soon decide whether the artist's story ends behind prison walls or takes an even more severe turn. M03 was rushed to the hospital following the attack, but his injuries proved fatal. Keywan White was later arrested and sentenced to 9 years in federal prison on weapons charges related to the case. Another suspect, Devin Maurice Brown Jr., was also taken into custody.
I found my phone, open the dock, get out the car, I started running. You know what I'm saying? I get out the car, started running.
Were they chasing you? Or
nah, I think they were gone. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't know. Like,
right.
I just know somebody came up beside the store.
Yet for years, one question remained unanswered. Who ordered the hit? That question was addressed when Dallas authorities arrested Yella Breezy, booked into Dallas County Jail, and held on a $2 million bond. The rapper's arrest confirmed long-standing suspicions. M03's murder, it appeared, wasn't random. It was a calculated execution. For Breezy, the arrest added to a pattern of legal issues. Prior to the indictment, he faced multiple charges, including firearm possession, assault, and child endangerment. Now, with capital murder on the table, he may never see freedom again.
Let me say this first. Rainwater, my manager, it's not no street. Let me say it again. Rainwater, my manager, is not no street. He graduated high school and went to college. Sir, you get what I'm saying?
In Dallas, where memories run deep, M03's mother, Nicole Williams Noble, responded swiftly. Taking to Facebook after Breezy's arrest, she called it justice and expressed a sense of long-awaited peace. Her post was met with overwhelming support from M03's fans, many of whom had waited years for closure. Meanwhile, Breezy had maintained an air of invincibility. After M03's death, he carried on with a public lifestyle that showed no remorse or concern. Rumors circulated, yet he continued flaunting wealth and luxury across social media, posing with jewelry, high-end vehicles, and large stacks of cash. Despite growing speculation, he showed no sign of slowing down.
I did an interview and I was talking about... I ain't lying in the interview. You understand me? This beef ain't got nothing to do with nobody else, no Yella Breezy and Roy Lee. This little boxing match ain't got nothing to do with nobody.
Breezy appeared confident that no evidence would ever tie him to the crime. But now, with the capital murder charge secured, his past may finally be catching up to him. When Dontrell White, one of M03's accused killers, was arrested, images of him with Yella Breezy began surfacing online. This sparked renewed questions about the true nature of their connection. But Breezy dismissed the speculation, offering no concern. In early 2021, he posted a New Year's message on Instagram saying he was putting his haters in the dirt, a statement many interpreted as a veiled shot at M03 and his supporters.
Yella Breezy got found guilty because you told on him.
How y'all gonna say I told on Yella? Listen, I will fight, tail, kick, punch. I seen a nigga in jail getting his ass whooped. He grabbed the nigga by his nuts and started whooping his ass. And everybody laughed at him. And I thought about it at home. I said, he did whatever it took to stay alive.
This is the new street dude.
This wasn't just lingering rap rivalry. It was a cold show of confidence, almost as if Breezy believed he'd outlasted the consequences. But in February 2021, reality caught up with him. Undercover officers arrested Breezy after discovering 5 firearms in a bulletproof SUV. He was moving like someone anticipating confrontation, yet instead of laying low, he continued escalating the tension. Adding fuel to the fire, his close associate and former rival, Trap Boy Freddy, continued releasing diss tracks mocking M03's death, signaling that neither side had intentions of letting things cool down. But today, with a capital murder charge pending, Yella Breezy faces a grim future. If convicted, he's looking at life in prison, or possibly worse. And while the streets of Dallas are dangerous, the prison system brings its own threats. Breezy won't be just another inmate, he'll be a marked figure. M03's name still carries weight, and there's no telling who inside might be seeking payback. As Breezy adjusts to life behind bars, he'll have time to reflect on how a feud that once started over words turned into a spiral that cost him everything. The M03 and Yella Breezy conflict wasn't always a street war. Dallas's rap scene once showed signs of unity. Breezy and M03 once shared stages, took pictures together, and were rising stars in the same city. But as fame took hold, deeper issues surfaced. Street politics, jealousy, and unresolved history reemerged. M03, known for his raw delivery and street-based lyricism, often spoke of enemies resurfacing as his popularity climbed. His success seemed to amplify old conflicts. Even Baton Rouge icon Boosie Badazz would eventually be pulled into the mix. At first, Boosie Badazz appeared to be a neutral figure, drawn to the emerging talent within the Dallas rap scene. He showed genuine interest in M03, appearing in vlogs together, voicing support, and collaborating on tracks. M03 welcomed the cosign and began referring to himself as M03 Badass in homage to Boosie. Meanwhile, Yella Breezy was making waves on his own. His breakout track, Trappin' Designer, gained momentum, and during an early Say Cheese TV interview, he confidently listed the city's top artists, placing himself, M03, Trap Boy Freddy, Goyayo, and Lil Ronnie in the lineup. At the time, relations seemed professional, if not friendly. But as the industry spotlight intensified, tensions began to emerge. In a May 2017 interview, M03 admitted there had been a misunderstanding between him and Breezy, but claimed they had resolved it during a face-to-face in Dallas. He suggested the tension may have stemmed from a personal issue, possibly involving a woman. Yella Breezy echoed that sentiment in his own interview, hinting that a female may have stirred drama between them. Despite the apparent truce, the peace didn't hold. As both artists gained traction, friction increased. Some insiders noted that M03's swift rise in popularity placed him at odds with several local rappers, shifting the energy from competitive to hostile. Things took a deadly turn on May 27, 2017. M03 had attended a concert at Club Phantom in Fort Worth, which ended in violence. Around 4 a.m., gunfire broke out. A 31-year-old man, Hector Wilkins, known in the streets as Lil Half, was shot in the torso and later died at the hospital. Authorities quickly suspected gang involvement. Not long after, M03 was arrested in a dramatic early morning raid at his home. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and held on a $100,000 bond. Despite the serious charges, M03 remained defiant. In a phone interview from jail, he recounted the experience, saying officers let him drive his own truck to the station and even made a stop at McDonald's. He later revealed that fighting the case drained over $90,000 in legal fees, leaving him financially strained. The arrest marked a turning point. What began as rising tension was now spiraling into a violent feud that would define the Dallas rap scene for years to come. M03 claimed that his arrest was based on online rumors, not hard evidence. Eventually, the charges were dropped due to insufficient proof. But as tensions in the Dallas rap scene escalated, another name was pulled into the conflict: comedian Roy Lee. Roy Lee was known for his raw humor and unfiltered commentary. He frequently addressed the rising beef in Dallas, often saying it was M03 versus the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area. Though meant as jokes, his commentary walked a fine line. Roy Lee and M03 were close, so his support for M03 and digs at rivals came as no surprise. One artist who didn't take Roy Lee's jabs lightly was Yella Breezy. In a viral interview, Roy Lee mocked Beezy's Oak Cliff origins and sarcastically told him to come on up so we can rob you. This triggered a confrontation between the two at King of Diamonds nightclub in August 2017. According to Roy Lee, Beezy and his crew jumped him during the altercation, leading Roy to demand a one-on-one fight. Roy Lee kept the pressure on in follow-up interviews, continuing to mock Beezy, question his street credibility, and escalate the feud. He even issued threats involving family members, raising the intensity of the rivalry. These ongoing provocations reflected a broader atmosphere of unrest in Dallas hip-hop, where music, comedy, and street politics were colliding. Then, in September 2018, Roy Lee was shot in the leg while sitting in a parking lot. At first, the injury didn't appear life-threatening. He continued performing and shared updates from his hospital bed, reassuring fans that he was recovering. But several weeks later, complications set in. Blood clots formed from the injury, and Roy Lee tragically passed away. His death sent shockwaves through the community. M03 took the loss hard. In an interview with No Jumper, he displayed a chain dedicated to Roy Lee, honoring the friend he believed was lost in a feud that had spiraled out of control. Following Roy Lee's death, whispers in the streets grew louder. While no direct accusations were made, many quietly speculated that Yella Breezy may have had a role in the comedian's tragic passing. Tension escalated further just days later. On October 14, 2018, Breezy became the target of a violent ambush. In the early morning hours, while driving on the Sam Rayburn Tollway, a vehicle pulled up beside him and opened fire. More than a dozen bullets struck his car, and multiple rounds hit Breezy himself. Despite the attack's intensity, he survived and was transported to a nearby hospital in serious condition. The shooting sent shockwaves across Dallas. Given the recent death of Roy Lee and the already fragile climate, many believe the shooting was retaliation. Authorities responded quickly, but no suspects were apprehended. As Breezy recovered, speculation continued to swirl online. Later, during an interview with The Breakfast Club, Breezy described the incident. He noted that he had sensed something was wrong when cars began trailing him after leaving a nightclub. The moment he realized he was being followed, it was already too late. Gunfire had erupted. While Breezy healed, M03 maintained silence. When asked in interviews, he refused to comment on the attack, leaving the public to form their own conclusions. But the silence didn't last long. By July 2019, the feud between M03 and Yella Breezy reignited in a public setting. Both artists were reportedly booked for the Unruly Citizens Festival at the Ford Center. However, when M03 arrived, police officers denied him entry, barring him from performing. Meanwhile, Breezy was allowed to take the stage without incident. Frustrated, M03 went live on Instagram, accusing Breezy's team of using police connections to prevent him from performing. He claimed it was an attempt to sabotage his growing momentum. Yella Breezy quickly responded, dismissing M03's statements. According to Breezy, M03 was never scheduled to perform at the event. In his words, "Ain't nobody on the same flyer as me." His response suggested that M03 had fabricated the situation to generate attention. Trapboy Freddy, another Dallas rapper closely aligned with Breezy, also joined the conversation. He mocked M03's claims, suggesting the rapper staged the incident to appear relevant. "Look at the flyer," Freddy laughed. "He just want to be talked about." Days later, Breezy sat down with Vlad TV. When asked about M03's allegations, he responded with a smirk and a simple reply, further fueling speculation and signaling that the feud was far from over. The attack sent a chilling message. No one was off limits, not even those mourning the loss of a fellow artist. Although Boosie survived, the shooting underscored just how volatile the situation in Dallas had become. As the violence escalated, the Dallas Police Department intensified its efforts to solve M03's murder, with the public demanding answers and M03's name dominating headlines. Pressure mounted for swift action. A major breakthrough came on December 10, 2020, when authorities made their first arrest. A 22-year-old aspiring rapper named Quan Dontrell White, also known as FGG Bonzo Bling, was taken into custody and charged in connection with the murder. Court documents revealed that White's involvement was exposed through an anonymous tip, as well as cell phone data that placed him at the crime scene. Before his arrest, White had drawn attention with a series of online posts. Just days before the murder, he uploaded an Instagram photo holding large amounts of cash and a rifle captioned, "He put a bag on him, now I'm up." Many later viewed the post as a direct reference to a payment for the hit. Weeks later, he was seen again flaunting cash inside a jewelry store. Surveillance footage linked a vehicle used in M03's killing to a location connected to White. Even after being incarcerated, he continued promoting his music and dropped lyrics referencing spraying bullets from a vehicle. What stood out further was White's connection to Yella Breezy. Shortly after White's arrest, photos surfaced showing the two together, deepening suspicions of a broader conspiracy. Despite the growing evidence, Breezy continued his public presence. As the year came to a close, he posted a message celebrating 2020's end, stating he was putting his haters in the dirt, a statement that only fueled more speculation. In January 2021, White gave a jailhouse interview downplaying the charges. He referred to the case as just another part of the street lifestyle. He admitted that his newfound notoriety had significantly grown his Instagram following, reaching over 18,000 followers after being named a suspect. When asked about his readiness for fame, he simply laughed. While he denied having a deep connection to Breezy, investigators continued digging. On April 23, 2021, a second arrest was made. Devin Maurice Brown, also from Dallas, was charged in connection to M03's murder. Authorities believe Brown had personal motives, possibly tied to a dispute involving a woman. Records showed that he contacted several people on the day of the murder, appearing to track M03's movements. Phone logs further revealed significant communication between Brown and White before the shooting. During a search of Brown's residence, police discovered an illegal AK-47, over $3,000 in cash, and various illegal substances. With both suspects in custody, the pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. Now, nearly 4 years later, the case has reached a new peak with the arrest of Yella Breezy. For many, this development confirms long-standing suspicions. For M03's supporters and family, it marks the first step toward long-awaited justice. To stay updated on developments in this case and other stories shaping the culture, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. For more content,